If you are anything like me and just like, come on, man, you're not going to get out hunted like by a blind man. You got a home here. Welcome to the Go Show, celebrating all things outdoors. This beautiful outdoor playground of a state, nation, and world that we live in. Thanks for playing along. You see this this handsome mug next to me right here is Dan Ferraro. He's a blind hunter, no excuse hunting, and there's no excuse. There's really no excuse if you think that it's so hard to take big game in Arizona. It's so hard to do this. It's so hard to do that. Well, try being a blind dude. Dan, I'm always happy to have you on the program. Always, you're just such a huge part of our conservation efforts here in the great state of Arizona, and really letting people know that it doesn't matter what you got going on in life. You can get out and enjoy the outdoors. So proud to have you here, buddy. And let's get to this. First of all, I'm sure the first question is, how the hell do you do it? How does a blind man hunt big game, small game, any kind of game? And please, dear God, who gave a blind man a gun? Let's talk about this, pal. Let's go. What do you got?
So, thanks, Mike, for having me on. So, that's the question I always get first is, how does a blind guy hunt? So I use Tactacam, and I'm also using Trigger Cam.
Okay.
This is the Tactacam. Sorry.
No, show me. It's all good, bud.
And what it does is there's a camera that you can put into it, but this is the adapter that fits on a scope.
Okay, so hold that right in front of your nose so I can see it, bud. You'll see it. There you go. Right on. Okay. And that's a camera that goes in front of the scope?
Yeah, it goes behind the scope.
Oh, so behind the scope. Okay.
It fits on my scope, slides on here, and then you put a camera into it.
Okay.
Kind of like the size of a Surefire flashlight. And then this sends the image that I should be seeing through the scope to iPhone, iPad, whatever. And whoever I'm hunting with is looking at the image that I should be seeing through the scope.
Right.
And they just tell me up, down, left, right, shoot. And it works really well.
It's kind of like a fatality code on Mortal Kombat or something like that. You're like A, B, C, up, down, around, spin around, jump on a leg, shoot. Yeah, go for it. All right. And again, if you're just joining us, this is Dan. He is very blind. He's as blind as they get, and he hunts. He out hunts all of us. And don't worry, Dan and I go way back. So Dan always knows that I make really inappropriate jokes around him, but he knows I love him. So anyway, so the Tactacam on the actual scope. And then does that change anything that the rifle, any of the functionality or I'll just say that a functionality of the rifle, does it change at all?
No, it doesn't change the functionality of the rifle. It can affect the scope a little bit. The image degrades a little bit when you're when you try to look through the Tactacam camera system.
I bet.
Through the scope, but there's a new one out that I was trying to evaluate on this hunt, and I haven't had a chance to try it yet. Well, I took it out on the hunt, but I didn't actually get to shoot anything with it.
Okay, well, we're not going to bury the lead. Yeah, he went on a moose hunt. We're going to talk about it in a little. It was an unsuccessful hunt. Lynn, good to have you here. Lynn, just so you know, this is Dan. He's a very blind man that hunts more than I do, so we're learning all about it. All right, what's the new one, buddy?
So this is the new one. It's called Trigger Cam. And it's got much better glass than the Tactacam.
Oh,
so the image doesn't degrade, and it good quality video. Now, of course, this is a blind guy talking about optics and images and all that. So
4K will blow you away. Yeah.
But it works really well. I will be using the Trigger Cam on our Oklahoma disabled hunt that we're taking people out to. For whitetail. So hopefully end of the month, I'll have a better idea of exactly how it works, but it seems to work really well in the testing that I've done. And I really wanted to try it out on my moose hunt in Alaska, which was interesting in itself.
Okay, hold on. I want to get to, we're going to get to that in a second. We got plenty of time here, but I want to get to that in a second. I want you to talk quickly. For the first time, I saw a Tactacam commercial. Never saw a Tactacam commercial, but I knew it because I heard it, and I was like, that's Dan's gear right there. And I got fired up. I just hadn't heard of Tactacam. So, but I did see it. So now when you go from Tactacam and Trigger Cam, those are two different companies, correct?
Correct. Two different companies. Okay. The problem is Tactacam is no longer making their point of view cameras. that I use. So they're not making the Solo Extreme or the 5.0s anymore, and they're not making the FTS anymore.
Okay.
So I needed to evaluate a new company, a new system that worked the same. And Trigger Cam seems to be the best one that I've been able to find, reading about them online. But I'm seriously hopeful that Tactacam will come back with their product because it's very versatile. There's a lot of different ways that you can use it.
Yeah.
I hang it underneath my shotgun to use it for, things like turkey. And it's got a red dot in there, so it just works like a scope under your barrel instead of above your barrel.
What's up, Rhonda? Yeah, hey, but I want to know about that. So, okay, so you just said there's somebody on an iPad, iPhone, whatever, and just saying up, down, left, right, center, shoot, right? Mm-hmm. So I don't want to paint over that. I really want to paint the picture. So, I mean, even in turkey shooting, which you need to be super silent, you need to be super still. And now you're dealing with a patterned shotgun that has a Tactacam or this trigger cam underneath it that should be giving the person that is looking at a tablet. I always see it as a tablet. So when I get you on can I be on a tablet? I want to be on a tablet because I want to do that with you. I cannot wait to do that. Hopefully in December we go pig hunting. But I want to, so even a shotgun, you can see it doesn't have to be attached to a scope. It can be a damn shotgun. How do you sight that in?
So the way I've done it, and I've not shot a turkey. I've tried, but I've just never, even when I could see, I never got a turkey.
Okay.
But
that makes two of us, pal.
Was that?
That makes two of us, pal.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I'm actually on the board of directors for the National Wild Turkey Federation here in Arizona, and I can't be the only board member that's never shot a turkey. So I got to get on it.
They're gonna kick you off that board so quick, buddy.
That's what I'm saying.
You do have a bit of a reason. I know it's no excuse hunting. I do understand that, but you do have a little bit of an excuse being blind and all.
Yeah, well, okay, I have a reason. It's not an excuse,
okay.
But it's a reason.
I like that. Okay, Dan. Sorry, buddy. Go ahead.
So with the Tactacam, what's cool about it, though, is there's a lot of different mounting options that were available when they were providing this product. It had mounts where you could hang it under your barrel. You could put a camera above your scope. So it was, seeing in front of you. The film through the scope mount. They had Picatinny rail mounts. There was all kinds of different ones that they had. And that was very beneficial for people with disabilities for different scenarios. What I liked about hanging it under the barrel was the newer versions of the camera have a red dot that the camera itself will put a red dot dead center. So I use that as an aiming point.
I bet.
And on paper and cans and just trying it, it seemed to work fine.
Okay.
I have yet to try it on a turkey, but hopefully coming up here in I'll be going to Oklahoma again, probably in April, I think, for a turkey.
Okay. Now I want to talk about the dude that's with you. Now, is it the same guy every time? I mean, think about this. I think what a lot of people don't understand in the world of warfare and military and firearms, usually there is somebody sitting next to the actual sniper that is pulling the trigger and doing essentially what your guy does with you. It's the numbers guy. He's the this, 2 up, 2 down. Like he's dialing in windage, and he is calculating distance, and he's doing all of that. I would assume, at least in the 2 snipers I've known in my life, they said, I want that same guy with me all the time attached to my hip. Do you use the same guide most of the time, or do you use is it just whoever's got an iPad, man, let's go hunt?
Well, if I'm hunting here in Arizona, typically I hunt with Gunnar Goodman from Triple G Outfitters and Goodman's Outfitters.
His name is not Gunnar. He made up that name. It's got to be a nickname. Is his name really Gunnar?
I haven't checked, but I'm pretty sure it's on his birth certificate.
Okay, yeah, we got to look into that one. I'm calling shenanigans.
And then when I go hunting in Oklahoma, I hunt with Bobby Armstrong with Po Folks Outdoors. And there's a guy named Nolan Holy Cross that usually sits with me in the blinds. Okay. So they're used to it. But typically before I go out on a hunt, even if I'm hunting with somebody that I've not hunted with before, we'll practice for about a half an hour, give me short, crisp directions: left, right, up, down, not up a little, down a little. And then, we pick our word to fire. I tried the word shoot at first,
Okay.
but that didn't work very well because I was on a bison hunt in New Mexico. And the guy I was with said, shoot, I can't figure out which one. And I almost shot the wrong buffalo. So that could have been bad.
Okay, you just eliminated me because I use words like a skosh. Yeah, this is skosh up. Give me a smidge. Give me a smidge to the right. Yeah, I will have to practice before I hunt with you because it is definitely a goal of mine to get out there with you and hunt. But I do use weird words. You know me. So you're like, hey, dude, listen, I'm blind. We ain't playing. I have a firearm pointed at stuff. Let's dial it in, Mike. I got it. I'll try my best, but skosh and smidge might make an appearance. We'll see.
Well, we tried different words and stuff like that, and usually just fire works fine.
Okay. Can I say send it because I want to sound like a sniper?
Yeah, that would work.
Send it. Love it. Yes. Okay, we're gonna do this. This is so much fun, man.
Like when I hunt with Gunner, I'm so used to Gunner that when him and I are hunting and he's left a hair, right a hair. When they say hair, I know I'm really close to pulling the trigger. So that's when I'll have my finger actually resting on the trigger. And then when I hear for fire, that's when I shoot. I've already shot before he's finished saying the word.
Okay.
So if there's any other
send from me, just pull the trigger. If you hear send from me, just pull it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say send it. And it might be after the bang. Brendan wants to know. Let's see. Lynn chimed in here, said he's interested to know about this because he is 100% blind in one eye. He said, thanks, Dan. And then Brendan pops in here. He said, are the cam companies implementing any AI programs that may eliminate the need for a scouter on the tablet? Do you know of any of that?
I've heard that there's a company somewhere out in North Carolina that's doing stuff with one of the universities there. I've heard bits and pieces about it, but I don't know for certain.
Okay.
I'd like to find out more information. For me personally, I've never really looked into that because I still need somebody to get me out there to go hunting.
Sure.
So, I can see where that would definitely help.
Okay. All right. Yeah. And I think just as it advances, I didn't even know we were this long before I met Dan, who is blind. And hunts more than all of us. Before I met him, I didn't even know this existed. I didn't even know the technology is where it is. Yeah. Anyway, hold on. Let me get some coffee. Damn it. Hold on. Mm-hmm. The technology was where we're at today, where we could do this. We could have people that are legally blind out enjoying the outdoors and hunting and having a great time and just having a damn good attitude. Dan is hands down one of the biggest active conservationists and just advocate for people just doing whatever they can to get outdoors. All right.
Thank you.
This is our Colts. What is this guy? What does it look like? This is our Colts. This is our Colts. I don't know that. Do you know anything about this is our Colts?
Colt?
Dan Colt, yeah. I don't know. We'll work it out. Kevin, you have to elaborate. Okay, so let's go to this. You told me a while back, you said, I'm going on a moose hunt. And I said, well, son of a biscuit, that is like bucket list. Moose is my tippity top Girl Scout. That is my Everest. I want to go moose hunting and I want to harvest a moose. So not just, I don't want to go hang out at base camp on Everest. I want to get to the top. So, talk to us about this. Where was this? This was Alaska, I'm assuming?
Yes. A friend of mine, Brian, has a friend that lives up in Alaska. And they hadn't seen each other in 25 years. They were high school friends and all that. And Brian asked if I wanted to go up to visit with his friend and go moose hunting. And I was like, sure. I mean, who's going to say no to that?
Right.
And I talked to his friend, and supposedly his friend knew a lot about moose hunting and, had places to go, had everything picked out. And from a lot of people I was talking to, there's plenty of moose up there. So I didn't put my research into the hunt as much as I should have. Okay. I mean, hunting with Gunnar Goodman and, going to Oklahoma hunting with the guides that I use, I got complacent and a little bit spoiled.
Okay.
So the hunt up there, though, wasn't really anything as we envisioned. we didn't have access to the property that the guy said we did. So it was more of a challenge, and it turned out to be kind of a glorified scouting trip for moose. But
okay.
one thing I would say though is if anybody's planning on going moose hunting in Alaska, there's some questions about what is a legal moose and what is not a legal moose.
Okay.
We went to the Game and Fish office in Palmer to get all the tags and everything. And believe it or not, the tags for just getting a moose and a bear tag in Alaska to get set up with that, it's affordable. It's not expensive at all.
Okay, so we're all a big family here. We talk open about money. We talk open about everything. We talk open about anything we want to talk about. So talk to us about that. So is a moose and a bear tag the same thing, or you get two?
No.
How much are they?
So the moose tag was $800.
Okay.
For an over the counter moose tag.
Yeah.
And then the bear tag, I believe, was I got a black bear tag, so it was $450, and then you have a hunting license that you get as well.
And that's for out of state. So I mean, that's a big. There's in state is probably $7.95 a piece for those tags, but out of state, yeah, it's a big chunk of change. But still, at the same time, I played for my Colorado elk tag. Yeah, it was $780, I believe it was. So yeah, dude, I mean that's right that's on par with everything else.
Yeah, I thought for me the cost wasn't prohibitive.
Yeah.
So I was excited to go. I even got a fishing license just in the event I could drown a worm somewhere.
Of course you did. Jeez.
What was that?
Yeah, I said of course you did. Holy.
Well, you gotta.
I have to hunt vicariously and fish vicariously through a blind dude. This is awesome. I'm so happy that you're around, man. It's just okay. So anyway, you got your tag, you did all that.
So we got the tags, but they had the Game and Fish. We were asking them what is a legal moose exactly to make sure everybody was on the same page. And they had a pair of antlers there, half an antler from a moose that I guess got hit by a car. And the antler had like this funny little split to it. And it was, I put my hands on it, but I don't know if I could accurately describe it.
Okay.
To be a legal moose in Alaska, I think you have to have 3 or 4 brown tines or have a spread of at least 52 inches.
Jeez. And how do you see that in the field? How do you gauge that with 52 inches? How do you say that? You just like, okay, I guess it's 52 inches.
So so after the hunt wasn't going like we thought it would, we were out by ourselves and we ended up talking to some other hunters. And one of the things that one of the hunters said is if you can put the moose head on each side of the three moose heads lined up and it's within the spread of the antlers, that's a legal bull. So that's a good way of kind of just gauging it by sight.
I'm gonna get busted, Dan. I'm gonna get busted. You probably are, as a blind man, you are probably a better gauge of that than I would be, because I can't. If I get mugged tomorrow, I'm not kidding. If I get mugged, the cops would say, "What did the person look like?" I'm like, I don't know. How tall was he? Hell if I know. How much he weighed? Yeah. Why would I know how much he weighed? I didn't ask him. Yeah, I am such a bad sight judge of size that I would just somebody get away with mugging me. Just please don't mug me. I said, but you know what I'm saying. Somebody get away with it. So literally the regs in Alaska are you need to sight measure the spread of the rack.
Correct. Or it has to have a certain number of brow tines.
Okay.
And it's on a certain side on one side. The problem was this antler was, when we asked the game and fish officer in Palmer if it was legal, we said yes. And he goes, is it? Because 3 game and fish officers say, no, it's not. Several game and fish officers say, yes, it is.
Oh, man.
So I asked them, I'm like, so it's subjective to whichever game and fish officer shows up. And they said, yes.
Yeah. Is this Fargo? I mean, come on. This is
that's kind of
it's very Keystone Cop vibe going on there.
Yeah, I mean, I understand it was definitely a non-typical bull. But the question is, was it legal? And the reason that really plays into it is I got on a bull.
Okay.
And we were watching it through binoculars and trying to figure out if it was a legal bull. It was up against a tree line, and it was about 425, 400 some yards away. And they were looking at it through binoculars. One guy said, yes, it was. No, the other guy said, no, it wasn't. And when they said that, he goes, well, it's got 4 on one side. I'm like, then it's a legal bull. Let's shoot it. And by the time I got set up on it, it decided to go wander back off into the woods, never to be seen again.
Yeah.
But if there wasn't that question, I would have harvested a moose.
Oh,
or at least had a legitimate shot at one.
And I would put that straight on the shoulders of the game and fish department up there that just confused the hell out of everybody and said, well, maybe. And here's what I would say. Okay, if it's borderline, okay, we're here with a blind hunter who took a moose down, and look at all this cool stuff we got going on here. And then you show them all your Batman gear straight out of Wayne Enterprises. This is what any booth that Dan's at, you think he's Bruce Wayne with all the cool stuff he has. But then you're like, okay, can we just call it good? If it's subjective, can we call it good and just move on?
I think according to some of the hunters and stuff that we talked to, if it's close, the game and fish officers will give you the benefit of the doubt.
Okay.
But
they should.
They should, exactly. Yeah. Because how are you going to go up there with a tape, measure it, and okay, it's 51.5 inches. Up, can't shoot it. Until you find out it's laying on the ground.
Yeah, let's. Lynn asked if that is for moose preservation. Yes, it is. The size and limit for any game species, Lynn. The size limit, the bag limits, the daily limits, the tag limits. All of that is to maintain a healthy population of each species. So yes, it is. And then Brendan asked, buddy, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, Dan, but we got in here. Said aside from having. So put this up on the screen here. Aside from having a scout guide, are there any additional planning or precaution established for your trips, especially hunting some places like Alaska with a lot of large predators? Ooh, that's a good question. What kind of precautions would a blind hunter and his crew take on any kind of hunt side of Tactacam stuff?
So what we did was pretty much everybody up there's got guns.
Yeah.
So we didn't run into any bears, even though I had a bear tag. We didn't run into any bears. We didn't run into any large predators. Came across a couple tracks, but we didn't have any. But everybody up there carries guns, pretty much. Most people out there carry a 12-gauge shotgun with slugs, or at least a large caliber handgun.
Yeah.
Just in case. Now, I didn't have any of that, and I'll be honest, I figured with my friends, they probably just figured they'd run and leave me to whatever. We thank you for your sacrifice, Dan.
Yeah. No. Okay. So let's cover that again. These shows go everywhere. So let's just sum up the hunt real quick. And then I want to get back to this question, but so essentially you didn't see a moose after that. You were done. It was like, damn it, I should have shot that. And now that's going to gnaw at you until the next time. Right.
Yeah, kind of. But it's part of the hunt. I still had a great time running around in a Jeep with my buddies.
Yeah.
We didn't know the lay of the land. We didn't know, what was good, what was not. And we learned a lot of that on this trip that we're going to apply to our next trip. One of the weird things about hunting in Alaska is the brush is really thick. I mean, we were hunting near Wasilla, Alaska, where it's kind of more, I don't want to say it's an urban area, but it's close to town and it's easy access for people to get to.
Okay.
So moose were a little more skittish. And one of the things that when we went hiking through some of the stuff, they called it a meadow, but the weeds and brush was actually up to my eyes. Thankfully, the guy I was following behind was like 6'3", so he could see above everything, and I'm 5'6". So I just kind of let him bulldoze a path, and I followed behind him. Walking on a terrain up there is kind of weird. They call it muskeg, but essentially it feels like you're walking on a waterbed filled with Jell-O.
Oh, okay. That is very descriptive. And for some reason, all of us Gen X guys go, oh, we remember waterbeds full of Jell-O. Yeah. Okay.
And occasionally your foot would break through. But it was definitely some interesting walking through some of that.
Interesting. Yeah.
Some of the people that we talked to recommended hunting from a tree stand because everything is so thick. You know, get back in there. And a guy did offer us the use of his tree stand if his friend tagged out, but his friend hadn't tagged out yet, so we couldn't use it.
Okay.
And I was thinking, okay, this will be interesting. Me climbing into a tree stand.
I had the visual. I just wanted to let you paint the picture, but I was like, okay, man. Yeah. I mean, would you be comfortable with that?
Yeah. I'd have done it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You know, I mean, I climbed the ladder and put my own Christmas tree lights or my Christmas lights up on my house. So
shut up.
Yeah.
Do you really?
I ain't scared.
I don't do that. Damn it. See, this is all the things. This is what I see. I love Dan and I love having Dan on the show. But every time I have Dan on the show, I'm like, I should be doing a lot more. Holy cow. What do you mean? What excuses do I have about putting Christmas lights on the house? Yeah, Dan's blind and he does that. Holy. Does your wife just sit there with a cup of coffee and just pull up a chair and see how
no, the neighbors used to though.
That's awesome. That is so, yeah. Oh, and Brendan just called you a legend right there. I love that. In all caps, he's just absolute legend. Brendan. You are. So, okay. So, buddy, before we wrap up, I really do want to get to this because you said all your buddies are out there. They've all surrounded you. They're all strapped to the nines. They've got either 12 gauge with slugs. They've got high caliber handguns with them. And then you said, I didn't feel like I needed to carry. Do you carry a firearm? As a blind man, can you carry a firearm?
Can I? Yes. I don't carry a handgun. But I had my 7mm mag.
Okay.
So, that's the only gun that I had. I was considering bringing a 357 with me, but I'm more of a long gun guy.
Yeah.
I didn't bring a handgun. And honestly, a lot of the people in Alaska carry those things, but we didn't have all that. The guys that were with me weren't really, armed. They had one 9mm that they borrowed from the guy that we were up there hunting with. And I don't know what that would have really done to a bear, but,
pissed it off.
Probably. Yeah.
I think exactly what that would have done to the bear. It would have been like, damn it, this thing is stinging me. Yeah. Okay.
One of the things I learned on this hunt, though, was, like I said, I didn't investigate a lot of things on my own that I should have, like, how to call in a moose and, different things like that. And after we figured out that the way we're going to hunt wasn't what we thought it would be, I called around to different guides to find out, hey, if you guys tagged out early, if you have any, can you help us out in the Wasilla area, but booking a guide for a moose hunt in Alaska can be very expensive. The cheapest every guide I talked to, the cheapest one I saw was like $22,000.
What?
And it gets better. And several of the other ones were up around $45,000.
Okay.
And the guys that are booked out for $45,000 said they were booked out for 4 years in advance.
It's an F-150. What do you wait? Well, okay. All right. Okay. Well, at least at least you've been there and done it. So when I do it, you're my guide.
Hey, let's go. We'll go next year.
See what I'm saying? You bring your buddies out there and we'll just figure out what didn't work last year. We'll try it again next year.
Well, one of the things also is everybody that we talked to in Alaska for helping, that we ran into other hunters, everybody was extremely helpful. I mean, some of the nicest hunters I've ever run into, and I've run into and talked to a lot. One guy, after we lost that moose, we called him, and he came out and saw the pictures, said, "Yeah, that was a legal moose. Let's try and get you on him." So we tried, but couldn't. And then as we were packing up, he loaned one of the guys a shotgun and said, "Hey, if you see any ptarmigan or any of these little prairie grouse or whatever they were, I'm not sure. If you see any, shoot them. They're good eating." And give me a shotgun back later. And, this was somebody that we've only known for like, a day and a half.
Yeah.
Another guy invited us out to his cabin on kind of our last day of the hunt. We went to his cabin, had a few adult beverages, and he said, "Come back out here at 7:00 in the morning. I'll take you out. We'll get you on a bowl. And then we'll come back and I'll cook for us." So he took us out, did the calling, showed us how to call, and said, "Okay, stay out here for another hour, come back to my cabin." And he made moose fajitas. I've got to tell you, I really need to shoot a moose. It was very good.
You're killing me. That's the best part of the taco food group. So that's it is my favorite food group. So okay, so yeah, I'm right now. I'm dying because I'm doing this intermittent fasting thing, and I'm not like I have a bison roast in the slow cooker right now. I'm dying. It's just the smell is killing me right now. I just want to go bury my face in it. So yeah, I can imagine what Moose, what Moose and Lynn said. So I can legally carry a firearm. Talking to my caregiver tonight, brother. Just because you have some sort of handicap doesn't mean your constitutional rights go away. Sorry,
right. Well,
sorry, God-given rights.
Well, one of the things I found out though is one of the things I want to do on a personal level is I want to get out and I want to hunt and fish in every state. One of the things I found out was that New Hampshire, it's illegal for blind people to hunt. I cannot purchase a hunting license in New Hampshire.
Oh, it kills me.
Yeah,
that just
I was surprised at that.
Let's go. Get your torches, get your pitchforks. Let's go. Because that is just absolutely, that's that madness right there. We might just grab a tag and let you squeeze one off. We don't care about New Hampshire anyway. I kid. Dan, we're out of time, buddy. You are absolutely one of my favorite human beings on this planet. And if you could send me a text, because I think we're doing something in December, aren't we?
We are. We're doing the Javelina hunt down by Gila Bend.
Yeah.
And can I also mention the fundraiser we got going on right now?
No, please do. I want everybody to know how to get a hold of you, buddy. This is Dan. Dan just ain't a buddy of mine. Dan's got a whole thing going on. So let's talk about it.
So I have an organization, No Excuse Hunting and Outdoors, where we help people with physical and visual disabilities hunt, fish, and do things in the outdoors. Right now, we have a fundraiser going on where it's one package. You can win a Ruger American 6.5 Creedmoor along with a Winchester SXP Black Shadow 12 gauge. And a Silencer Central certificate for a 22 caliber suppressor, and that's all one fundraiser.
What?
And it's it's some good stuff here.
Oh yeah, man.
And you can get to it at noexcusehunting.com. And if you have any questions, you can email me dan@noexcusehunting.com or give me a call 480-650-5878. I'd be happy to talk with you about the organization. And we're always looking for volunteers to help us out on our hunts. And if you know anybody that has a disability and wants to get out and hunt, tell them to call me, contact me. Unlike a lot of organizations, we help people with physical and visual disabilities regardless of age or military service. A lot of organizations only help disabled vets because they can get donated tags. We don't do that. We have to pay for our tags. And typically you have to do that out of state. So,
all right. Well, I'm telling you, I think out of all this, as if I didn't need to be impressed by you more, dude. You put up your own Christmas lights. Now I'm ticked. You should have never said that. Now I got to put up Christmas lights. Thanks, Dan. Hey, y'all. Listen, tomorrow's.
I can always come over and help you.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate you. Son of a. Yeah. So tomorrow is FAFO Friday. But tomorrow will be pre-recorded. I am heading up to Arizona to our event for wildlife for tomorrow. The October Bear Fest is going to be happening up there. So I'll be heading up there, but I will pre-record it. FAFO Friday will be at large and in charge, and it will broadcast exactly at 11. Dan, always appreciate you. NoExcuseHunting.com. Go check him out, and we'll see you mañana at 11 FAFO Friday right here on the Go Show, celebrating all things outdoors in this beautiful outdoor playground of the state.